Today on Jeep News, did CRED write the script for Jeep's Super Bowl ad? It kind of looks like it. Let's find out today and get started. Well guys, welcome back to the channel. We're back for another episode of Jeep News. If you haven't watched the Super Bowl, first off, go Birds, they won. Ryan was down in Philly on Broad Street, and don't look up any of the local news because he was covered in a lot of Crisco oil because of the street lamps. No, I'm just kidding, but we were all watching the Super Bowl, super happy with how it turned out. But in the midst of it, we saw a commercial ad from Jeep, which we were waiting on. We were waiting to see an ad from Jeep because I know they sponsored the halftime show, but we were waiting and excited to see it. And we all kind of sat there in silence and watched the ad, and there was a ton of takeaways. Let's talk about Jeep's Super Bowl ad, which everyone loved. We both loved here, and let's explain it, talk about what this means for the brand, because I think this was a monumental ad to show the shift of leadership, to show the shift of trajectory for the brand. And I know it's just a Super Bowl ad and just a commercial, but just like everyone's talking about the halftime show, I think it's time to talk about what Jeep did and their ad. Let's start right from the beginning. This ad rolls up full-on Americana. American flag, snow-capped mountain range, somewhere in the Midwest, wood picket fence. You can't get more American than that. Cut shot, Harrison Ford sitting inside, dog in the background, fireplace, log cabin looking place, and initially we are just kind of hit with a lot of things. So Harrison Ford initially opens up that says, he kind of says life is like the longest thing you'll ever do. There's no owner's manual for it, but it would be nice. You know, and he's talking about that, and we get into right away with the freedom aspect of it. So it's yes, no, it's maybe, but it's earned not by movie actors and people in the public arena, but by true heroes. And we see Jeeps rolling out, getting deployed overseas. We see a veteran. Boy, we're already hit with emotions. I mean, I know I am. But it's the freedom to choose. You know, it's the freedom to choose what you want to do. And I think that's kind of the preface of the video. So we hit super Americana values in the beginning, and then we're shown with a lot of interesting things popping up. So we saw a 2025 Wrangler 4xe Rubicon, which is what Harrison Ford is driving, in the 41 color. So an homage back to those original Jeeps. It ties right back into it. But he says, one thing I wonder if this was like a knock at like 392 owners, because he said, it's not driven by pride. Pride's a terrible driver. And then the 392 comes up because it's like our 392 owners kind of like, are we kind of like arrogant guys? And it's like, well, you know, I am. I'm the most arrogant 392 owner you'll ever meet, right? But he says pride is a terrible driver, and we see 392s just flying by. You can hear the engine roaring. But then he says sometimes it's enjoyed in silence, and there's a 4xe that's just like flowing along. So right away, we're met with both sides.
Two different groups.
Two different demographics. 4xe owner, 392 owner. But we're showing both of them and not secluding one or the other. This wasn't a complete 4xe ad for the new Wagoneer S. This was here's a 392, here's a 4xe. Some people want this and some people want that. And we'll get to some meanings of these once we talk about our breakdown of the video. But it was cool to see that. So we're already introduced to the fact that they have both. And then the Jeep passing the Bronco, the ability to inspire. The Bronco was gone for a very long time. I think the last year of production was 96, 98. Someone will have to correct me with the Broncos. It was gone for 20 plus years. Jeep inspired the Broncos' initial production back in the day, but then I do feel that Jeep also inspired the Broncos' production current back in 2021. And it was cool I'm not gonna lie, it was cool to see a Jeep pass a Bronco. Even though it didn't say Bronco on the grill, it's like, yeah, you know what that was. So that was really, really cool to see. A lot of people were curious about the Recon EV that kept popping up. So the Recon EV was in the orange color. Maybe that's when they're going to launch Juice, because that looked maybe like a Juice.
People were saying it was Juice.
Like a Sunburst. It was looked like it had some flake, but it was neat to see a drive-by with the doors off, because what other EV can you take the doors off of? But the thing I wanted to nail home with that fact is that we're already introduced with 392, 4xe, Recon EV. It's kind of showing that there is variety and you have the ability to choose what you want. There was a lot of questions. I saw a ton of Facebook posts about the Super Bowl ad. That was the Recon. So maybe Ryan, pull up some Recon shots, some spy shots that we have. That's the Recon, which is set to launch. And I believe it's on the website right now. So somebody just said it's like popped up on the website right in the homepage. Yeah, the Recon EV. So we've known about it. Like, it's coming, but it's kind of neat to see one in person. And, you know, as the ad goes further, it's really just talking about the freedom to be able to choose what makes you happy. And there's a lot of subliminal messaging in this, but I would love to almost make a quote of this and put it on a shirt, like, you don't have to be friends with someone to wave at them. I like loved it. Like, I'm like emotional thinking about it, because how many times have you as a Jeep owner waved to somebody you have absolutely no idea who they are, but it's just the quick wave over the steering wheel there. And I think that quote was so well written, and I love the way that it was written. So he kind of ends the video and he's talking about, you have the ability to choose what makes you happy. It's your life, you got to live it. And the owner's manual, there's no owner's manual to life, so you may as well make the best of it and choose exactly what you want to go out and do and be happy with. And I really like the messaging of this, because it's like, yeah, you don't have to be friends with someone to wave at them. It was like a direct, like, you don't have to like that someone's driving a 4xe or they have 24-inch wheels on their Jeep to wave at them. You know what I mean? You don't have to be best friends with them. I love that, because it's so significant, and we're going to get into it as we break down, but it's so significant to kind of what we've been preaching, is that you don't have to be this subset of a Jeep owner to have your cred and to have are you a real Jeep owner, which we broke that video down. But yeah, let's talk about it. Let's break down the video, because the last tagline, though, get out there and write your own. So over the past few years, what Jeep's marketing team has kind of done for the community, especially the Wrangler community, is basically just say, yeah, you can buy any Jeep you want as long as it's a 4xe. And all the ads have been about electrification. They've been huge pushes towards it. There's been such a massive push across the country. Dealerships can only carry them. You only saw incentives on them. It was just a huge push for the 4xe. And people just weren't happy with it. They weren't happy with seeing the cookie cutter commercials of 4 people loaded into a 4xe, do a hard left turn, see the sand fly up, and just be like, Jeep, adventure or something. It's just, it didn't jive with anything. They pushed it so hard that people were just like, why are we doing this? We don't want a 4xe. And maybe it's not because we don't like it. I want to have a 2-liter turbo. I want to have a 3.6 Pentastar. And I think what this commercial did right away, right out of the gate, was just break the chains off of that boring advertising that we had been seeing. Because let's be frank with you, the same 4xe BS commercials of go through mud, water this, go through river, turn hard left, mud flies up, close with Jeep letters. That's all we saw for the past few years. Jeep dealerships can only carry them. So seeing this ad right away was like just the ability of Jeep to have the largest commercial that they probably paid for in a long time in a Super Bowl ad, pushing the freedom of choice for the Wrangler, is just something we have been asking for so long. It's not that we care that the 4xe is out, because if that's a perfect solution for you as a Wrangler owner, I love to see you in it. I don't hate 4xes. I don't hate the owners. I love to see the fact that you're in a Jeep and you're enjoying it. But I still want to be able to buy a 392. I still want to be able to buy a 2-liter, still be able to buy a 3.6. I want to still be able to buy a Jeep that makes me happy. And the whole ad was talking about freedom is the choice. Yes, no, maybe, but doing what makes you happy. And it's weird, because a few months ago, back in November, we posted a video that was, are you a real Jeep owner? And in our channel, we are probably at the forefront of the comment section of the real people that can rip us apart down below. You never take this thing out. You don't wheel enough. You're not a real Jeep owner. You don't even use it. You don't do this, X, Y, and Z. And I hate that mindset, because I feel like the inclusivity of the Jeep community is that we're all part of the same community, and we discuss that at lengths in that video. So if you guys want to watch that video and then watch the Super Bowl ad, I think you'll see a lot of the cues is that we are just happy that we have the choice again. It seems like Jeep is listening, and you can be a Jeep owner no matter who you are. Harrison Ford, his last name is Ford, and he's driving a Jeep in the ad. I think that was ironic in so many ways, not only because it's his last name, but the fact that he had a Jeep Wrangler, it was a plug-in 4xe, but then they show a 392. We just want the options. That's all we wanted as Jeep owners, to be able to all be members of the community, have those options, and still be able to wave at each other, because we're all in that community. Now, the other thing I wanted to touch on in this video was just the fact that there was so much kind of presented to us as far as the Americana, the freedom of choice. There was American flags. There was Jeeps, Willys MBs dropping out of planes. This was a very American ad. This was a very prideful ad. What does this all mean, though? The biggest thing, like, yeah, it's a Super Bowl commercial, a very expensive one. I heard $8 million for 30 seconds. But what it means to us is kind of the fact that we feel like the change of leadership that we've been recently seeing, and kind of all the turbulent changes up at HQ, have acknowledged the fact, maybe without acknowledging it, that there might have been some errors in the marketing, there might have been some errors in the restriction of options, and there were definitely some errors in not listening to the customer base. I feel like the biggest problems that a lot of mainstream large companies, Ryan, you and I can both put those companies not up on this video, but there's been a lot of companies lately that have tried to push so far outside of their target demographic to just get absolutely annihilated. And I feel like Jeep is not a company that can afford to do that, but they were going down that path. They were going down the path of just completely alienating that original owner, that original subset of audience member that just didn't want to see some of this stuff, but wasn't upset about it, but just wanted to have the freedom to choose. And that's what we said a long time, is like, there just wasn't the options. They started just pulling, and there weren't the options for us regular buyers to purchase these Jeeps without being forced with this. And it really shows to us that the leadership changes, I think that they're making a direct hit. I'm not sure when this video was filmed. Obviously, there's a lot of B-roll, there's a lot of it to it, but for it to be released in February, Ryan, what do you think? It would probably take 2 to 3 months ahead of time to film this, right around the change of leadership. Or maybe it took a month to film, I don't know. There's a lot of shots in there, but I feel like it was a direct hit, or a direct targeted audience to like, look, Jeep is not forgetting about you, but we're also embracing a little bit of the changes that are coming. And it's so crazy because it's just so close to our video. You know, we said about this in Are You a Real Jeep Owner, is like, Jeep was born and bred to be a utilitarian workhorse. A lot of people on this channel will remember back when a Jeep was a farm vehicle. It had a PTO in the back and could drag through plow fields, and used on hunting trips and used on skiing trips. And then it turned into a lifestyle vehicle that was based upon those owners that had a Jeep when they were a kid, and they got one as a lifestyle vehicle to maybe cruise around, run errands with, buy a 2-door TJ. And now as we grow further, we added the 4-door, and it turned even into more of a consumer vehicle and a lifestyle vehicle. And I think what Jeep needs to just do now is not forget about that old audience, but the old audience, or the older generation, that old style Jeeper, needs to also be able to remember that new people are just getting into it. And if for them to continue a brand, they have to have new buyers. It's not just going to be 2 doors like this that are $30-some thousand. You want the audience that might buy a 4xe high altitude. So it was a really cool just kind of homage of, we're not forgetting about our roots. We're still giving you the freedom to choose. And then also there are a lot more options. The one thing that was really interesting is that the Gladiator wasn't shown. So not that I think it would have been like out of place, but it was like Wrangler, Recon, 392, but no Gladiator. So a little bit interesting there to not show it. Does that have any subliminal messaging that maybe they're not pushing as much towards it? But you'd think, yeah, so the one big thing too, you know, talking about the Gladiator, it's weird that we didn't see it. It wouldn't have been out of place to see one with the top and doors off rolling around, but the fact that the 392 was shown is just, with all the final editions that were happening in 24, 25 final editions, I don't think you'd invest, and Ryan doesn't think, that you'd invest that kind of money into a Super Bowl ad and have that as being like a nameplate ad and then not continue the 392. That would make no marketing sense. So we are seeing a massive shift in what the brand is thinking and what they're doing. Hopefully with that, we see even more crazy things coming out. There has been so many rumors and speculation about that 5.7 Gladiator. I hate to keep saying it, but like, maybe with this branding, the way that they're changing things up, we will start to see them actually listen. You know, they're starting to. So guys, they're starting to listen up. It's like the therapist that's just listening to all the Jeep owners start to keep complaining and keep talking about their problems. They're fixing it. The one thing though, Ryan, we talked about it before this, man, how much do you think they spent on the Jeep halftime show and the Super Bowl ad? And you can't get your hinges fixed.
Yeah.
I can't laugh about it because I've had hinges corrode to shit on my J case and stuff, but it's like, it's always so ironic to me that companies have like so much money to spend on marketing budgets. It's the same with like State Farm. They have like every actor in their ad last year, and then I get a letter in the mail and it's like, hey, your rates are increasing, we're not doing as good profit. It's like, really, bro? You know, so I just wanted to include that because I do think it's always a little bit funny to see. Yeah, so I was like super loving the ad. I was watching the whole thing, but as I was watching it, I was listening to everything that was being said, and I was like, man, this is like really close to like what we've kind of been saying. Not that it's like they like copied it, but it's just like, man, like the freedom, the this, the that. I was like, whoa. And then I rewatched the video like 5 times, but the first time I heard one sentence in this, when I initially watched it on TV, the tagline at the end.
Get out there, write your own.
Get out there and write your own. And I was like, wait a minute. Wait 1 second. Because you guys have been watching our channel for what, 2.5 years now? Get out there and earn yours. Until next time, I am Matt from Dirt Road CRED, and it's time to get out there and earn yours. Get out there and write your own. I was like, boy, that's not gonna toot my own horn, because get out there is like, yeah, get out there and do this. But like, it was so close. And Jeep, if you guys watch our videos, if you guys are seeing this stuff, like, that's the most prideful thing you could ever do for it. That's like the most honorable thing, that it's like we're being listened to. Like, so we're just happy, we're ecstatic. I think it's awesome. But yeah, it was weird, because I rewatched the video a few times, and after I rewatched it multiple times, I was like, man, there are a lot of hidden cues in this, a lot of hidden messages. But the tagline at the end, I was like, man, that's cool. If they would have said, get out there and earn yours, I would have been like, whoa, like, there's no way, you know. But I think they probably looked and were like, all right, they say that at the end, let's change. Hang on, ChatGPT, change this a little bit. Either way though, guys, let us know down below what you think the Super Bowl ad meant. Now, it's crazy because we're making a whole video about Jeep News talking about this one ad, but I think this one ad could be a message that just really shows how much they are trying to change, and how much of those things that we've been pushing for such a long time might soon be coming to reality. So really, really neat to see this. I got to give them a huge props. I don't know about many other ads in the Super Bowl that I really liked or thought, whereas now I'm a diehard Jeep guy, but I don't know if any other ads really hit home as well as that. Like the Budweiser ad was cool, you know, stuff like that, but this one really hit like every checkbox for us. So let us know down below in the comments what you guys loved about it, and if you're an Eagles fan, let us know down below in the comments too. Maybe we'll pick one person down below in the comments that like is an Eagles fan, right? Go Birds or whatever. We'll pick one random person. Rules and restrictions apply. We'll have that on our website. We'll pick one random person. We got new beanies. We'll send you a beanie. So we'll just pick one random person, but you got to make it to the end of the video and say Go Birds down below, DRC 2025. But let us know what you guys think about the video, what you guys thought about the Super Bowl ad, and then what you think Jeep needs to do to kind of get you involved. I know we've asked you to talk about that a lot of time, but they are listening. They are listening, Ryan. I don't know. I think they're listening, and they're reading these comments down below. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys are having a great year so far, and just stay locked in, because Ryan, I don't know, maybe pan over to can you see any of the Jeep? Just do a quick little, there's some things going on over here. And we have a lot of parts that are not on the Jeep right now. So stay tuned, because this build is really kicking off here lately. So thank you guys so much for watching. Until next time though, I'm Matt talking to you, Ryan's behind the camera, and we want you to get out there and write your own. Gotcha.